Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode. My name is Anton Babenko. I move my camera. Um, well, as always, Friday, 12 p.m. In the place where I am. Currently, I'm in Norway, Oslo. First of all, please tell me if you can hear the music, because last time I turned it on and I think nobody complained, so hopefully it was not so uh, disturbing. I know that some people actually noted it and they were surprised, so that's good. Is it loud or is it not loud? Please tell me in the chat. Um, no music. That's that's bad. Why there is no music? Uh, Hello, Kirilla. Okay, no music. Well, how can I fix it? It should be music. Hmm. Okay, let me struggle a little bit with the music. Yeah, I don't know why there is no music. No music. Strange. Light. Background noise a little bit, but no music. Well, noise is not music. Okay, now you should hear some music, right? Hello, Denise. Okay, now I can see that you should hear some music, but is it loud? Please let me know. Okay, well, let's get started. So, as I said, I'm working with Terraform and AWS. I'm also an AWS community hero. I've been developing several projects in this field, and I still enjoy what I do. Um, well, yeah, right. I didn't know that this music is not copyrighted, because if it is copyrighted, then this live stream will be deleted from YouTube. Okay. Uh, right. Okay, so I'm a bit worried because of this music. Anyway, let's get started and then we'll figure out how it works. Please complain if something is not working or something is too loud or too quiet or you cannot hear me. Uh, okay, well, let's work with some open source stuff. If you like what I'm doing, feel free to follow me on GitHub or any other social medias you like. There is also a repository which is called Terraform AWS DevOps in my GitHub, where I list most of my open source projects, some live stream like this one, weekly TF, which is Terraform weekly newsletter, as well as a couple of utilities which I developed, some bigger projects which I have been developing. Earlier this week, I recorded a podcast where I was talking about serverless.tf project. It's supposed to be up at the beginning of November. So hopefully, hopefully you will guys hear it and you will learn something new about serverless.tf. The project is not dead as some of people thought. Well, if there are no commits into one specific repository, it doesn't mean that the project is dead. There is a lot of activity in Terraform AWS modules. Also, Terraform best practices will be translated to Urdu. I have just received a proposal from the translator. Yeah, and that's it. Okay, let's move on. So, Terraform weekly newsletter. I got new sponsor, Speak Easy. For those who don't know, I delivered a couple live stream with them where I showed how to get your Open API specification and convert it into Terraform provider. I made it with OpenAI. So I picked up OpenAI specification and put it into Speakeasy and got Terraform provider without anything, any Go code written. So this was pretty useful. Okay, let me see. Somebody is complaining that they cannot make a comment. Well, I can see that people are commenting here from YouTube. I guess that's because not everyone is subscribed. No, you are subscribed. I don't know. Maybe you're a spammer. That's why you're not allowed to leave comment. Okay. Right, so let's move on from this one. Next thing, which I just earlier today discovered this thread in Reddit. Why should I care about OpenTOF? And a lot of people said that what I was telling for a pretty long time. I don't want to repeat this. I was like scrolling, and then I found out that this line, if it's tofu plan instead of Terraform plan, then I'm for it. Well, I would say it opposite. If it is anything and then plan instead of plan, TOFU, then I'm for it. That's joke level, I know. Okay. Right, so anyway, let's forget what I was telling before. Let's continue. This is going to be the last episode of me writing Terraform code for EventBridge Pipes. Previously, I was writing like a bunch of different features, and then I figured out that it's very complicated service. Like even here, you can see like, oh, it's pipes. But if you try to create pipe, then you will go through the list of like sequence of steps and so many different properties. I was just like amazed. So let me look into the code and continue there. I also have a little bit of issues with my normal IntelliJ editor, because for some reason HCL editor doesn't work there. So I switched to VS Code, which actually I was using before for quite some time, especially when I write Python. Then this is my default choice because it just works. With HCL, it's a little bit bad, but at least it's working. Anyway, let me show what kind of stuff I wrote here. So over the past few episodes, I added this example. I will just uncomment it, and I will explain what exactly is happening here so that we know where to continue. Yeah, and hello CJ from Romania. Yeah, it's good to see so many people from pretty much all over Europe, and actually some people from US. I know that you are there. That's pretty cool. Okay, so let me look into this example and explain what kind of features are there. So when we're talking about adding EventBridge pipes, there are a lot of different customization options which we can do here. So what I made examples for, oh my god, one from Korea. It's yeah, it's late, right? Yeah, but not so late. I will be in Kazakhstan in a week. Oh no, I will be in Bulgaria in 1 week and then in Kazakhstan in a month. So yeah, that's closer to Korea than ever. Okay, so this is what I want to explain. There are a lot of different things which we can create inside of pipes. So first example here, yeah, 7 p.m. It's cool. It's, of course, what else can you do on Friday evening than just watching some Terraform code? I agree, there is nothing else. So first example is when we add enrichment to API destination. Enrichment in this case, it is here. So first we receive events from different sources, then we filter out them, then we enrich them somehow using different methods, and then we send this to the target. So enrichment is this guy. There are lots of different ways how you can make use of enrichment. So the first one is using API destination. So that request is sent from source to enrichment and then to target. Also another case where you create this API destination outside of the module and you just specify the IRN of enrichment. Like in this case, I made this guy externally. Of course, navigation doesn't work, but that's okay. Then this is where I will be working today. So I will add source and target parameters to customize and to specify different filtering options. And this is the last thing where I spent most of the time during the last stream, and I think I worked for a few hours after the stream. And from India and from Pakistan. Oh my god, guys, you're from everywhere. That's pretty cool. I know that there are quite a lot of people from India, so thanks everyone from this region. And earlier today I checked that there are about 80 million of people from India who speak Urdu. So this will be one more language which is available for Terraform best practices ebook, which I wrote a few years ago. So stay tuned for that. And as always, if you want to translate it into your language, in addition to 19 existing, please let me know. So terraformbestpractices.com. Okay, so yeah, and one from UK. Well, good to see you. I know that you are quite frequent here, so thanks for coming back. So this one is terribly complicated thing. So let me explain what exactly is happening in this specific two example. When we are telling that we want to make use of a source and target, we specify that we want to use SQSQ, and there are two options. Three options. One is we will get IAM role created for this pipe, and it will be created internally by the module. I will show how. The second option is that we want to parameterize name for this role, which will be used. And the last option is where we create this role outside of this module and we pass it here. So this is where the tricky part is happening. This IAM pipes file, let me explain it briefly, because I think it's really the point of this module. I mean, of course, you can write 2,000 lines like I did for this module yourself, or you can write even less. You can write pretty much what you need, probably a couple hundred lines of line for your case, and that's it. But what I did here is that I looked into documentation and I figured out what kind of roles we should be creating depending on where or what kind of IRN is being used. So there are many different service integration on different phases. Like, for example, if we look into source, then we can see that DynamoDB can be used only inside of source. So that's what I wrote, that value for source will be IRN of DynamoDB table or stream. And matching service is DynamoDB or MQ, which is Amazon message queue, MSK, and so on. So this configuration is something what I extracted from documentation. And this role is actually quite sophisticated because depending on where you are gonna to specify your DynamoDB, is it in target or is it in other places, you will have, let me look how to wrap. Yeah, let's wrap this one here. Right, so depending on what kind of source you will be using, so let's say if SQS is used in source, then this is what you need to specify, and that's it. In target, you only need to send message, DynamoDB as well, Kinesis and so on. So many different groups of roles. Again, if there is anything wrong, you can always provide your own IAM role, and it will be just fine. What else I want to share here? Right, so then I'm making this policy document, which is quite sophisticated, and attach it to the role. So if you want me to run this code, I can run it, Terraform apply. I run it partially already, so I'll just say yes, and it will create this role. Let me just wait for a few seconds, and then I go to the Terraform state, and I will find it. I am what is it? Policy, role policy. I am policy document. No, policy attachment. Where is this? Right, it's still making. Okay, so it's just completed. Assume role pipe. Not assume role, but right. Okay, so here is it. As you can see, there are specific. Or maybe I can show it in console. Let me look it into console. If I go here and I refresh it, I will see a lot of different roles being created. Test is the one which I made manually, but the rest is managed through Terraform already. So if I now go to the IAM, where is my IAM? And if I look here, roles, no, it's not role, it's, is it role? Enrichment. Okay, so for example, this one, with enrichment. And here we can see the policy document, which was crafted specifically for the policy which we need. Because in source, I'm using SQS, then it is specified here. In target, I'm also using SQS, that's why it is specified here. So here you can see SQS target, SQS source. So this was for source and target, and for enrichment, this is it. So I think it's pretty cool, and that's exactly the value of Terraform AWS modules. You just specify, hey, make me a pipe. That's it. And then 2000 lines of Terraform code is going to work hard to make it for you. And threat relationship, again, is specifying that only this specific pipe can assume this role from this account. That's it. So I'm pretty glad with the way it ended up, but it was very hard to figure out different policies. The lack of documentation is just insane. Hello, Gengar from Philippines. Oh my God, guys! I wonder if we have someone from I don't know, French Polynesia, which is even further. But yeah, great to see you guys from all over. Okay, so let's go back to this example. I hope I explained that these 380 lines of code were actually necessary where I have question marks. It means that, well, there is no documentation. I couldn't find what kind of role or policy is necessary for this. Vienna, yoo-hoo! Hello, Linda. It was great meeting you a couple of weeks ago in Munich. Cool. So yeah, I found some things, but I was surprised that the documentation is like, it's not there yet. So good luck figure out what kind of things you need. It is possible to find out, of course, but I was not willing to spend more time on that. Yeah, if you want to see some magic, here is it. It works. I mean, it's not really magic, but it is working, I would say. Okay, good. So let's move on. Let's add something else today. So today I will continue working and add the remaining bits. I will just comment out the rest of example because I don't need them right now. I'll run Terraform apply to delete these 17 resources which were just created. And I will work on these source parameters specifically. Source parameters and filtering. So here we are. Okay, so let's work on this source block, or let's make some cleanup a little bit. Tags is usually going very last. I don't know why it's should be try tags. Okay, good. Right, so source parameters. Let's take a look into documentation just to figure out what kind of things we can write. Or maybe we can write this first, SQS parameters. Yeah, looks good. I already have this block here nearby, so... so dynamic for source parameters should be going through all source parameters if they are specified. Source parameters can be only once. I guess that's the case. And then inside of content we write, well, that's good attempt. I like CodePilot, but sometimes it's not really aware of what I'm trying to do. But okay, let's accept this one and update it. Dynamic. Ooh, so many red lines. Okay, so dynamic will be for this one if there is SQS parameters. Looks good. And content. Okay, so we are gonna to look into SQS parameters. Here, it shouldn't be lookup. It can be try most of the times again. But I have no clue if batch size is optional or not. Probably it is optional because I didn't specify it before, so it's probably optional. So, and we try. Okay, that's it. Looks simple, right? So now if I specify this guy inside of my example, so I'm going to play with this one. So source parameters will have this block and this block. Batch size 1 and this is 90. Let's see. If I run it now, it's trying to set to 1 and 90. Looks good. So far I didn't break anything. Again, this is because I'm doing it for SQS. I will probably add example for source parameters and target parameters for just SQS, just because they're very similar. So let me apply this one to see that it works as expected. So batch size by default was 10, but I've set it to 1. Okay. It's also important to rerun these tests because sometimes there are bugs inside of handling empty values in Terraform provider. So you need to run it twice just to see that it's not trying to roll back. And oh, nice haircut. Thank you. Yeah, I like my haircut too. Well, I didn't like the previous one at least. Okay, so here we are. I added one for SQS parameters. Let's take a look into what else I should be adding according to documentation. According to documentation. Okay, so this is what I added. And let's see. Right, so it says optional and optional. If you think that you need to validate these kind of things and say like, oh, this should be maximum value of this, in most cases you cannot validate it properly, and you should not validate it properly in this level, like inside of module, because it will be always chicken and egg problem. If AWS changes it and provider changes it, then you need to change it in module and so on. It's just wasting of time. So, okay, we don't need to do this one. Okay, what else in source parameters can be specified? For other, self-managed Kafka. I still haven't seen self-managed Kafka in my life, and I'm still alive. Okay, let's find source parameters. Okay, filter criteria seems to be like a good match. So inside of source criteria, we can specify filter criteria, which are not dependent on the source type. So let's figure out how the filter block, filter and pattern should be looking. Filter criteria. Okay, here is an example. And there can be multiple filter blocks. Whoa. Okay, I'm trying to copy, but it just moved. Okay, here we are. Copy this into this example. Should it be a separate example? No, it should not be. It can be in the same field here, filter criteria, and it can be a list. Usually we don't have to be very creative and figure out how these things can be made. So if it's list, like in this case, it's a list of blocks or list of objects. I'm thinking if it's gonna to be filter criteria, how to put it here. So filter criteria should be a list of what? Of course, I can specify it like this: filter criteria, and then make list of patterns, just like this. For example, it's gonna to be pretty much like this, so list of different things. But it's a bit surprising to the user. that we change from this one, which they see in documentation everywhere, to this one. And it's also surprising because next time when something is changed here and they add another input value somewhere here, it will be pretty bad and pretty hard to handle at least. So let's see. So okay, it will be a list of these guys, or maybe let's take a look into other module just to be more consistent with this one. Which module do we have for this? Preferably some similar serverless module where a list of different things can be created. I see what I mean. This can be a list, but it can also be a map with something like this. So filter 1, pattern, blah, blah, blah. And then filter 2, pattern, source, event source 2, event source 1. Something like this. This way we are going to make different blocks inside of filter criteria. Well, maybe not perfect. Now let's take a look into other places, maybe in AppSync, something like this. Well, AppSync is not the best example because it was a bit old. But anyway, here we are making map of something, or different functions, or different data source. So we always operate with maps because it's more convenient than with lists in general. Okay, so let's put here. So source parameters can be map with a key and then whatever is specified there. Looks good. Looks good. Let's make it shorter because no need to be so big. So user will have to just write filter and then pattern. Yeah, I think it's good. But what else can it be? I mean, at the end of the day, the ordering here does not matter because it's just multiple blocks. So filter criteria like this, or yeah, filter criteria, filter. Okay, let's call it filter criteria and then bunch of keys. So it's going to be a map of string. Okay. Let's take a look. Let's take this example and let's put it somewhere here, just for inspiration. And then put this block here. So we're going to make dynamic. It's going to be one filter criteria block, and the content of it will be again for each and the content of that one will be, so filter criteria Then inside of it, we are gonna to go through filter criteria value. So we're gonna to go this thing where key will be the one we need. Do we need actually key here? No, we're not gonna to use this key for any send. Oh yeah, I forgot this one. So dynamic could be inside of this one. We're going to make a lot of filters. So there will be 2 filters in this case, where pattern will be required, and pattern will be, since it's required, it's going to be filter value pattern. That's correct. Something like this. Let's run it. So adding line by line, fixing problems. That's pretty much it. Only one nested block is allowed for each dynamic block. I know. So what did I write wrong? So inside of source parameter there will be content. So dynamic for each content. Dynamic for each content. Dynamic for each content. Right, yeah. This is good. Oh, I'm so glad that a friend of mine just sent me a link where filter criteria were used. In fact, they were used in Lambda module. I remember that they were also used in S3 bucket module, but yeah, but that was a little bit more complicated than I need here. So it's line 337. Let's see. 337. Oh my god, fantastic. Fantastic. That's how it works. Thank you very much. Okay. Let's see. Filter criteria, pattern. But here pattern for some reason is optional. In my case it's not optional, but filter, that's exactly what I wrote, except maybe this guy flatten. So what flatten does is that if there are list of list, it will just make them really flat and everything will be as a one list. All right. Okay, I'll take a look into this one if my current code does not work. And apparently my current code is not working. This object does not have attribute named pattern. Let's see what kind of pattern should be it. Usually, if I don't know what to write here, I want to just verify that it works, at least somehow. Then I run this placeholder. Very important to put DFH. And then I can see that it's trying to make just one block, while it should be making multiple of them. So for each will be not filter criteria value, right? Let's see. I have filter criteria is going to be 2 elements. Maybe take a look into the link which I was viewing here, just to see. So filter will be try flatten. Well, I can try this one, but I don't think it is needed for this case, but you never know. Flatten needs an item separator. All right. As usually when you handle map or list of maps, and you don't want to be strict, like how many elements are there. So then you use flatten to make sure that you always have a list, and then you iterate through this list. Okay, so what is this? Source filter criteria will be how many of them? Well, there is no simple way to debug this thing, at least I don't know. Filter criteria. Okay, so we get this. Here is it. So here we will put this one. So we will go through this and then inside of filter we are gonna to look into filter criteria value. I'm a bit lost. I've not been writing Terraform for quite some time, as you can see. I'm already a newbie with this. So what should I write here? No, that's not gonna work. Content. And as far as I remember, if I write something like this, or just wait, dynamic filter, I can comment out this whole block, and I can just write filter pattern and here I don't know what to write yet, so I will write try filter criteria filter pattern. Now each value here, some of you suggest, is not gonna to work because each value will work only if you are iterating through this for each, through the resource for each. Then this is where you can specify it. But since I'm already inside of dynamic block, I can use dynamic block values. So here is this one, here is this one. So that's why it is. What I just want to see, again, this is maybe a bit ugly, but I want to just see if this will work. Value. Object has 2 attributes, right? So, my assumption was correct that here I am iterating through these 2 filters. So that's what I need. So here I'm going through this filter, and I am picking them, but not as a list, but like this one. Okay, and then inside of each of this value, I will be able to pick up pattern inside of it. That's what I'm thinking, at least. Let's see. And let's see. Right, so now I made these two things. Okay, so the error was that this was a list of things here. But instead, I'm already providing iterable construction, which is a map. So that's why it was not working. Now it's gonna work, as you can see. But okay, slowly, one by one, I'm able to figure out what to put here. Again, it says that there has to be not more than 5 elements. I would never make this limitation here, because at some point AWS will increase it and your module will have to be updated. Good. So now it is implemented. Thanks everyone for suggestions, by the way. Really works this way. So filter criteria. Let me just add filter filter. Oh, I just like to read whatever is specified here. I mean, it's written everywhere. Okay, no. Filter criteria. So, why there is no music anymore? Of course, it says that I was not active enough. That's why music is turned off. Now music is back. So filter criteria, max 5 filters. Good. So the example will be with source target parameters and filtering. Okay, so this was for source parameters. Now let's make another one, which will be for target parameters, which will probably look similar. Will be target parameters, and there will be something about SQS if there is such a thing. I don't know. Okay, let's go to documentation just to see what kind of things can be specified. Target configuration. This is it. Here as target parameters. No, where is it? I need to search for this one. So target parameters. Okay, that's pretty much traditional thing. Here we can see SQS queue parameters, but in fact they're called SQS parameters or SQS queue. So which one to use, I will have to figure out. SQS queue parameters or SQS queue. SQS queue parameters. Where is this? It's pretty hard to navigate this documentation, but okay. Where is this block? Parameters for using SQS stream. Where is this SQS queue? ECS. It's terribly complicated here. Here is it, SQS view parameter. Okay, so just two things can be specified inside of this block. Good. So let's take a look. Let's put it here and here. So this parameter applies only to FIFO-Q. Why it's not the token used for the duplication of send message and FIFO message group ID to use as a target. I don't know any of those, so it will be group 1, very good default, and here will be whatever ChatGPT or Copilot tells me. It's going to be the duplication ID. I think it's perfect. Oops. Okay. So we'll go back to code and put this here. Let's copy this code here. Usually when I write similar type of code, I make as much as I can in one place, just like for source parameter, and then copy paste it into target parameters, change something there, and it's good to go. How do I like Copilot for Terraform? Well, it can suggest something, but it rarely suggests something what I don't know or valid. Like, it can write some code, but it doesn't make sense in many cases. I really like the way how Copilot works with normal text and Python, for example, but not for HCL so far. Okay, so here we are. So for target parameters, it's going to be exactly the same thing, just another names of inputs, and both of these are optional. As you can see, it says tags. It doesn't know that tags is already specified here in this block. If I accept it, it suggests to close this one. It doesn't make any sense to do this. There is already a tag here, and it doesn't know. But okay. Here we are. Yes. So now let me run this code, and I expect it to be working right away. That's my dream. Doesn't work right away because it applies only to FIFA, right? And my queue is not first in, first out. So I can make it, of course, but do I want? No. I don't want to make it as a FIFA, probably. Or okay, let's make it as a FIFA queue. Ooh. Ooh. Maybe it will raise some other things. It will regenerate a bunch of policies now because name of the queue will be changed. I need to write, I think, FIFA like this. Changed changing queue name. Yeah, this is queue name. That's why statements will be different. But most importantly, this guy will be working. Okay, right, what's next here? Well, let me dream about what is necessary to make this as end-to-end. So I made it for SQS already. Let me script it in the way that I first publish message to the queue, and then I want to see it in another queue somehow. So let me go to this. So I know that there are data sources for data source to find SQS queue, and also there is data source to invoke Lambda function, but there is no data source to publish message, as far as I understand. Right? So how can I publish message to SQS queue from Terraform? Well, I don't know how to do this right now, but I'm going to do. Let me think. Yeah, I can do this. So the flow which I'm dreaming is that I will use this SQS queue, and I will send message to it and see if it's working. Okay. First of all, let me do this through UI, just because it's easier to do here and to understand how it works. So if I go to this IRN, and somewhere here, if I click send and receive messages, and I say hello, and I send it, is this enough? Your message has been sent and is ready to be received. What is the way to monitor this thing? I'm asking very strange questions, I know, because I have never worked with it. Filtering is actually enabled. Maybe I need to disable filtering. But anyway, let's look into how to monitor this guy. This is called Stupid Questions Department. How to monitor, probably in CloudWatch, no? Well, this queue should be empty already, right? Send and receive. That's it. I mean, this message is gone, right? Why not? What's going on here? Let's go back to the code and let's simplify it significantly, just to make sure that it's actually disable filtering, disable SQS. So let's disable pretty much everything, right? Just to see if it's working. Because if it's not working, then interesting. I have just disabled source parameters, and I don't see it's being changed. Interesting. Why it's not here? But okay, it should be gone at least. All right, so let me look into into this code and try to understand what kind of change should I make to see this happening. Why it is still here? Interesting. Is it right thing? Yeah, should be right. Anyway, if I maybe go to documentation just for fun, here is link to documentation. And if I look into this one and look into pipes and look into log and monitor, or maybe immediately into error handling and troubleshooting. Now let's look into log and monitoring first. Let's be more optimistic. And a bunch of things happening here. So let's look into CloudWatch logs or CloudWatch something. CloudWatch metrics maybe. Events. Improved. You can now embed specific time ranges. I don't know what it means, but anyway, there was nothing recently across all events. That's not what I need. If I look into my maybe Explorer, no, all metrics, streams. Okay, in all metrics, is this it? Every time I'm clicking here like a random dude who doesn't have a clue. And remember, I'm certified. So I'm supposed to know where I'm clicking at least. How to get rid of this? Clear graph, no. Ah, here is it. Oh. Is it event? Not schedule, maybe it's pipes? Here is nothing. Maybe in logs? No, what kind of logs? Come on. It's AWS, there are no logs. Okay. Sounds scary as usual. Sources. Amazon MQ. EventBridge supports standard queue, blah blah blah. Okay, let's forget about being too optimistic. Let's just get things running somehow. So the message was published, right? Or not? Let's maybe disable this queue just to make sure that it's not doing anything. So stop this queue. Is it stopped? It is stopping. So if I now go here and I send message, what message body? Message attribute. Ah, right, okay. So this here, all for messages. Why I don't see my message here? Should this be a JSON or not? Well, I've been sending messages before through CLI in some automation. After you create your queue, you can send message to it. Are you sure? Well, I am lost. Does anyone know how to send message and see it? Can it be that something else is listening to it? No. Number of empty receives. When was it? This was today? Yes. 10 minutes ago. No. When was it? I don't know. When was it? It was a long time ago. Anyway, here is it. Number of messages sent. Number of messages deleted. So apparently I did something 7 minutes ago, right? So that should be me. Can it be that my SQS queue is not reachable? Oh yeah, here is it. Good. Okay, so at least one message is here. This is the one which I just sent. Good. So now, if I go to this guy, it should forward it to another queue. To this guy. So here, if I go to send and receive message and I call for messages, I should see something at least, right? Okay, so let's go here. Let's start this. Let's remove maybe this filtering. I don't know why I cannot remove it from the code, but let's just go here and how to remove this. And how to disable this, remove. Okay, here is it. And so from this one, right, okay, so the maximum amount of time to get the records before invoking the function. So as soon as I get one message, then it should be good to go. But if I would specify 10, then it has 90 seconds to aggregate this. Okay, right, yeah, that's, I knew this. Okay, no enrichment, and it's gonna to push into this one. Great, exactly what I need. So let's see, and I need to start it. So now if I refresh it, it says starting. So eventually I should see one message in source and nothing in here. Why it's so slow? It started. Why does it take so long? Okay, now it is running. Now there are no messages. Other messages. Let's see. Messages available. There should be 0. Okay, it says no messages. That's good. But what about target? Nothing here. Interesting. Why don't I see anything here? Can it be that my SQS queue is somehow different? I mean, maybe I should pull for something else. No. Interesting. Okay, if I now specify this and send message, it should not be here in this queue because it should be already submitted to my target queue. All for messages. Come on, I want to see one message here. Apparently, I'm missing some permissions. My assumption. Okay, let's see how I can figure out what exactly am I missing. If I go to documentation, I don't expect to find anything useful here about this problem yet. Maybe it is somewhere in error handling, but I want to see it inside of metrics pipes. Here is it. Okay, now I can see this new thing. It was events, which is not apparently events. It's called EventBridge Pipes. Okay, good. So here is my pipe with a bunch of different things, and that's it. Interesting. Invocation. So everything is empty. How long time will it take before it is visible here? I have no clue. So, yeah, not really useful, I would say. Okay, almost all pipes. So where is my graph? What to do? What should I do to see my graph here? Yeah, it's so useful. No single number, everything is just empty. Can it be that it didn't do anything? That's why there is no content to show. Okay, let's take a look into another favorite service of all times, CloudTrail. CloudTrail is here. I have list pipes, start pipes. Yeah, well, that's what I did. But what about invocations of this pipe? I don't think it's going to be visible here. Pipes. Well, this is all what I did in order to change it. That's not what I want. Let's take a look into a role which is used by this thing. There is this role. Don't forget to update setting. Well, I think I changed it through the code. Okay, it says with source and target parameter. So let's take a look. With source target parameters. Let's take a look here, and that's the problem. Why it did not update? Any ideas? Why this policy statement has not been updated? That's a bug in the code, because I have renamed my I have renamed the function name because I enabled this FIFA. Let's just disable this FIFA for now, because my queue name becomes different, and that's a problem. So my target queue has changed. That's why I need to have another. No, it says here FIFA. I thought it didn't respect this for some reason. But anyway, let's get rid of this. Just want to have this queue, target queue, mentioned here. Why I don't see it? Can it be? Ah, it's another name. Right, it was another name. Well, it was some caching and not respected. Well, there are bugs everywhere. Somebody asked about Copilot for ChatGPT. Well, I wish it can do this for me, but I don't think it will be ever able to do this. Modify and pipe. Let's just destroy this one. Very often when you work on like iteratively, you add new things and they just don't work properly. Then you need to clean up everything and create it again. But in most cases, of course, it's only during development. Let me run this code and see if it works through the UI. Then I will be able to to finish it afterwards. Okay, now it will finish. Then I can look into this role. So this role contains correct things here. So if I go to EventBridge Pipe, I've reloaded. I can see that this one is new. So if I go to my view, now it is called differently. Now it's called, I'm looking in the name, discrete magpie source. Okay, send and receive. And this is where I will target. Here I will pull for messages. Yeah, I'm gonna to send this message. Oh yeah, and I see it already coming. Cool, so I made this message here in sourced, and I can see this message somewhere here. There should be a message. Yeah, body. This is it. Okay, so it works. The problem was with some permissions not being respected, and CloudWatch did not help with it. So CloudWatch logs, I mean. Now I can see. Right, so there was pretty long delay. Yeah, there is pretty long delay between event being triggered and when it is actually visible in dashboard. Yeah. Okay, well, that's it. I don't think I will want to spend more time on this. The remaining part here for me is still, I was not able to finish it as much as I wanted. But the remaining part is to make sure that these source parameters and target parameters, which I specified here, are respected. And then add support for the rest of the source and target types. And that's it. I think I will get this done during weekend, and I'm also tired of this content myself. So thanks everyone for being with me and for asking questions and providing some feedback. Yeah, see you next time. Where is this button? Here is it. Thanks. Bye.